purple party people at? Where they at?
Get down. Time to get it on.
Welcome to episode 110 of Amari Purple Talk, a podcast where I share my thoughts on the Prince musical singularity. I'm Richard Cole, the Amari in Amari Communications, and every episode I break down everything in the world of Prince and all Prince-related music and artists as well as genres of music that has had a major influence on his art. If you enjoy the content of this episode, please download to listen at your convenience. If you are on YouTube and want to keep up to date on episodes of Amari Purple Talk and other content on the Amari Communications channel, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And with that down, let's get started on this week's show. All right, so not a lot of big Prince news going on. We're just we're almost a week, or actually by the time this airs, a week and a day for the release of the Warner Brothers era reissues of Prince albums. And that is about a dozen or so albums from For You to Dirty Mind, The Controversy, 1999, Sign of the Times, Love Sexy. So some of the classics, hopefully some of your favorites. Of course, the movie soundtracks, Purple Rain, Parade, Graffiti Bridge, Batman, that will not be part of the reissue, as well as Diamonds and Pearls and the Symbol album that followed that particular record. So Warner Brothers has control of all the movie soundtracks. There's still a rumor about Diamonds and Pearls being the next Super Deluxe edition. We'll kind of touch on that in a little bit. However, again, some pretty heavy hitters of Prince albums, the classic era. But probably the bigger story is that the estate, the Prince estate, has finally reached a proper valuation. There was some controversy going on at the very beginning, or from the very beginning, regarding what the estate is worth, what type of tax liability is involved. These things get more complicated when there is no will. So it's been quite the journey these last few years, trying to get this thing settled. But now it has been settled. And I'm going to read from The Guardian. There's an article in that publication and other publications as well. But this one is simplified enough to where I can read it and we'll go over it a little bit. So, according to The Guardian, the estate of the late pop singer Prince, including his catalog of songs, has been valued at $156.4 million, nearly twice the amount of an earlier appraisal. The estate's administrator, Comerica Bank, agreed on the figure with the Internal Revenue Service and heirs to the Prince estate. The singer died in 2016 without a will, and his estate will pass to 3 of his siblings, as well as the publishing company Primary Wave, who in August of 2021 bought out rights to the Prince catalog from another 3 heirs. 2 of them are now deceased. The redistribution of the estate's value could begin next month. It has been a long 6 years, said L. Londell McMillan, lawyer for the 3 heirs, who have faced a costly legal process to have the estate's value settled and distributed. The process came to a head earlier this month when the IRS, the U.S. tax agency, asserted that the estate was worth $163.2 million, twice the $82.3 million figure previously submitted by Comerica. The higher valuation meant the IRS would claim substantially more tax. Comerica had sued the IRS in 2020, arguing in the wake of the settlement. Comerica argued that, All right, so let me start this over. Comerica had sued the IRS in 2020, arguing that there were errors in its valuation. In the wake of the settlement, Comerica argued that this would have prevailed had the case gone to trial. But the heirs had pushed for a settlement to bring the process to a quicker conclusion. Primary Wave and the remaining heirs will now hope to amass new and ongoing revenue from the estate. So let me read that last line again. Primary Wave and the remaining heirs will now hope to amass new and ongoing revenue from the estate. So I'm certain that many listeners of Amari Purple Talk have heard, whether on social media or certain trade publications, regarding the siblings' dissatisfaction with how things were being run by Comerica. Not sure how accurate that is. I would say probably from their own personal statements, whether it be on social media, as opposed to any type of trade publication or interview where things can get slanted. But the overall consensus is that all of these things, whether it was the initial Sony reissues of albums from 1995 forward to Forever to Purple Rain Deluxe, Sign of the Times Super Deluxe, 1999 Super Deluxe, Welcome to America. All of these albums, originals that have been in other things, merchandise, still film royalties, whether it's Purple Rain or Under the Cherry Moon, DVD, all of it, all the money that's been coming in since 2016. The estate, as in the family, the siblings, have received little to no money, which led to the decision for at least 3 of those members to cash out or sell out, and not in a bad way sell out, but to basically cash in and make a deal with Primary Wave, where 2 of the siblings sold complete shares, I believe. Tyka Nelson held on to, I forget what the exact number is, it's 0.5 percentage point or something. But she received a lot of upfront money, and she will continue to get a royalty off of 0.5%. So whatever that adds up to, depending on the project, I mean, you're cashing out early, you got a substantial amount of now millions that you didn't have before, and you continue to get a little change from that. So if you invest your money well and you still have some income coming in, that, I know a lot of us, it's easy to play Monday morning quarterback, a backseat driver, whatever you want to call it, and say, make these decisions. But when you have millions of dollars on the table and everybody's hungry, here you have half of the siblings that are definitely playing the long game, and that's okay. And there's nothing wrong with the other side too of cashing out. We're seeing a lot of legends, and talked about this on the previous episode, more so in regards to our black legends, whether regardless if we feel they're receiving less money than say, a Bob Dylan who just this week made a deal with Sony for his master recordings. Now that's the label he's been with since the very beginning of his career. So, there's that. I mean, he already sold $400 million for, received $400 million for his songwriting publishing, for the publishing rights to Universal. So it's a similar deal that the Prince estate basically has. They have a publishing deal with Universal, but then all of the master recordings are licensed through Sony now. It's funny how those two always parallel. They're both from Minnesota. There's a friend of mine, PC Munoz, that almost 10 years ago now, did a show in Berkeley with some of the musicians that he's worked with over the years, where it was a mashup. They did a mashup of Prince music and Bob Dylan lyrics. It's an amazing show. I hope he does it again, and I hope I get to do something in it the next time they do something like that. Whether it's I'm playing bass or if I'm just banging a tambourine in the back of the stage, and just going, ooh, 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 I'll take that job too. So, I mean, but they're parallels, and that's one of the reasons for the show. I mean, in the advertising, he advertised it as these are the other Minnesota Twins. Little nod to the baseball team there, where these sort of figures that have changed the face of music in one way or another, both had these radical spiritual conversions that polarized their fan base. And it always seems to be a big parallel with that. Well, now here's another one, so both Bob Dylan and Prince, publishing rights, Sony is the administrator. I mean, Universal is the administrator. And then for the master recordings, then Sony is the administrator. It's pretty heavy. Pretty heavy. But like I said, it's easy to sit back and make those decisions. But again, you led Bob Dylan and Bruce Springsteen and Tina Turner and Smokey Robinson and James Brown, their estates, David Bowie, they're all estates cashing in, I mean, Smokey's still around, Bob Dylan's still around, Tina Turner's still around. But hey, they're at a point in their lives and their careers to like, hey, let me just take this money and kick back and live. I mean, they're already pretty much in one way, shape, or form, whether up or down, a high or low. But you would assume from where we're sitting, they're living their best life. But now, they're at a point to where, what? This is cool. I can look back, look at what I've done. I don't think there's much more to do. Now let me really live my best life. Like, they can now kick back and just sit back and travel. They don't have the pressure to perform. I mean, probably the pandemic now played a part in why all these big deals are going on for most artists. And I would say especially the younger ones who, are dependent on personal appearance, because depending on what deal they sign, no matter how great this generation may think that they are, but they have yet to kind of get to that long game like our legends to make these big deals. So, maybe they're looking at it like, yeah, let me cash in. And hopefully a lot of these artists are smart to invest well and, again, plan for that long game for when you can't get up on that stage anymore. Or if there isn't a demand for you to be on that stage anymore. It's pretty heavy stuff going on. So I'm not going to criticize the decisions of either side because both sides have their merits. And it may be comfortable for the three siblings that are holding on to their shares. Playing that long game makes sense. It's logical. And it's making dollars for them. The other side, selling the shares to Primary Wave, great. Again, play that long game. And of course, you have your detractors. You still have people going, oh, well, the Prince wouldn't have wanted this, and this isn't what when he would have wanted, and yeah, but you're still going to buy that next Super Deluxe edition for Bebe's party. So we ain't trying to hear that. What are you going to do? You're going to try to ban Prince music? That's not going to happen. And trust me, you don't want to do that. You really don't want to do that. So, I mean, and again, our job is to, enjoy, celebrate, have positive energy regarding this stuff. Whatever's going to happen, let's have some positive energy towards it. Great. You're a fan of a certain era and you just holding out till it's your turn to get that Super Deluxe edition for whatever era. By all means, do that. The estate's still going to win because there's a Super Deluxe edition or a Blu-ray or a song or something, T-shirt, DVD, something that's going to be for you. And either way, it's going to be a win. And it's going to be great, And I guess part of what's going on with this episode is the possibilities. The possibilities of what's going to happen now that the dust is beginning to settle. We're just waiting for the ink to dry on this whole thing now. They're waiting for the checks to start coming in now. And without that big albatross of a tax burden, on their shoulders, what does this mean going forward? I mean, this year, 2022, we have the Warner Brothers reissues. And everything else I'm going to talk about in addition to that, let's keep in mind that anything that has not been announced officially by the Prince Estate or Sony Legacy or even Warner Brothers, if they could someday tomorrow say, hey, we're going to drop that Parade Super Deluxe edition. But until that happens, everything else for the rest of this episode, minus the Warner Brothers reissues, and probably one other thing, folks, is speculation, it's theory, it's rumor, and as they say in podcast land, take it with a grain of salt. So, like I said, we've got the Warner Brothers reissues that are a week and a day away. So we have speculation that Diamonds and Pearls is the Super Deluxe edition that is on deck next and will drop this year or should drop this year. And hopefully we'll get an announcement for that. I would probably predict maybe a few weeks, couple of weeks after these reissues start to drop, there'll be an announcement, or could be an announcement on April 21st, could be an announcement on June 7th. But, there's a lot of people out there in the Prince musical singularity that feel that Diamonds and Pearls is on deck next. And I'm cool with that. So that being said, I would probably go at this point 60-40. So 60% chance that Diamonds and Pearls Super Deluxe Edition will be announced before summer. And it will be out before the end of the year. Because, the reissues, because this isn't Sony doing what they did prior with the post-1995 stuff, where it was like you got this trilogy of albums. No, they're dropping a big, heavy load. They're dropping a dozen albums on the same day. We got to play catch up. This is, I'm trying to save my purple croutons, trying to catch up with this. So, and I'm won't be in the position to get everything first day, but I'm going to get a few things, and I'll try to do instead of an episode, do a video, just kind of talking about the releases when they come. Lately, Amazon's been on point, but it'd be just my luck. It would get to February 4th, and it's like, oh, nope, it's still on the way, and then it'll be Monday, whatever. But cool. But other than that, yeah, I'll probably do a video about that instead of just an episode. But like I said, Diamonds and Pearls, to kind of give people a chance to kind of catch up. If you're not in a position to get all 12 albums the same day, then, you're somebody like me that's going to get them kind of like piecemeal, one couple at a time, few at a time. And, probably within the next month, 2 months, eventually have them all. And once that happens, then you kind of get that announcement. Then you really got time, do your Amazon pre-order, wait for the price to come down, whatever, and do it that way. And I don't think this is an unusual move for the estate to do this. I mean, it feels almost low key. You got reissues of classic albums, but you're just getting the CD and the vinyl. Maybe a little bit better packaging as far as maybe liner notes and artwork for the liner notes. If there's like a CD booklet, lyrics for each and every album. But other than that, I mean, it seems pretty low key. And then Diamonds and Pearls. I mean, just like Welcome to America, it's not part of the so-called classic era of, Prince albums. And which is a good thing. You want to cover all the bases and you want to give equal shine to eras that, people beyond the musical singularity here, give them something, the mainstream to like discover something new or catch up with what we've already known about or even heard about and share the experience together. But I think it's pretty low key because I think 2023 is kind of going to be the bigger things. I mean, prior to the dust settling on this thing with the IRS and the estate, I'm sure they've already laid out their plans. Their plans had already probably been laid out since maybe 2018, roughly. Kind of when they kind of got the ball rolling with, the originals, 1999 Super Deluxe. Pretty much just about everything has been digitally cataloged by Iron Mountain at this point, or at that point. Then on top of that, you had the whole deal where, Warner Brothers exercised their right regarding a contract that Prince signed when he got his masters back in 2014, and the life of that contract extended right here in 2021. So I'm sure that there were plans at least up until maybe this first year. And I don't know if the estate and Sony had initial plans, kind of going to 2022 and beyond. But I figure with the insertion of Primary Wave into the mix of everything, again, this is speculation, that they're probably just, with them in the mix now, they probably brought their table of ideas. Like, okay, well, we got a stake in this now. We're an experienced company. We've got a track record with lots of legendary artists, both, living and dead. And they probably have some fresh ideas. I think this is a company that themselves on, being innovative. This new world of IP, of branding, these terms that we're using now. We didn't really, beyond, working in somebody's law firm, mainstream people didn't know what these terms are, what they mean. Now we brand it. We talk about it a lot. We use the terminology a lot. Branding, intellectual property. Now we're in an age from the change in copyright law in 1978. Now we're at an age where, yeah, those rights are now being exercised fully by artists across the board. So, and these things now where we're getting into digital and NFTs and stuff like that. So your likeness, your name, your creations, it's the new currency now. So I'm sure they brought a lot of ideas to the table, or they're bringing a lot of ideas to the table to where, like, okay, cool. The records are going to be important and the records will always be there. But, how are they going to be promoted now? There's things like TikTok now. And like I said, again, NFTs and, again, these digital worlds that people are creating now. I don't get all of the ins and outs about it, but it sounds like something that we all, if we're not a part of it, is something that we're aware of. So we know how to, whatever, our purple croutons, how are they going to be utilized in the future? So that could be one thing, and that could be something that would be very interesting to see. I would say mainly, again, 2023 being the big deal is because I think that's when we will get the Netflix documentary. Now, there's an interview that Dr. Funkenberry did with Alan Leeds. I have yet to check it out, but I did see the clip where of course, these things are always kept secret. So to his knowledge, and again, speculation, nothing official by Netflix or the Prince Estate, but it's a good guess that the documentary will actually be ready to drop in 2023. We hope, they've been working on it for a while. So we don't know what stage of completion, but, definitely if not 2023, maybe 2024. I would really say 2023 would be better because you got 2024 and that's a big anniversary for what. So, and I'm sure the estate has plans to make a big deal out of that. We hope. But I think the Netflix documentary would be a good deal. And if there's a soundtrack, that would kind of be a good springboard for definitely having some remastered tracks, definitely the official stuff, stuff that's the hits or whatever, or B-sides, or hopefully it'll be crammed with that, but also some vault material, hopefully some nuggets that we haven't, heard before, or we only have the crappy bootleg copy of it. To be something, I'm sure to be something like like the Zappa soundtrack, for his documentary. That was 3 albums or 3 CDs, I think, of material. Hopefully we'll get something similar with a Prince soundtrack with the Netflix documentary. Definitely some hits, definitely some, deep track cuts, hopefully some vault tracks in there, whatever the tone of the documentary is. So I'm thinking they're going to kind of swing for the fences for something big to celebrate that. So pretty much why I think this year is, to me, like I said, again, low key, because, nothing special with the reissues. As far as I know, nothing's been remastered. However, I'm looking forward to, like I said, replacing some well worn out copies. And again, Diamonds and Pearls, though not a major favorite. I mean, I enjoyed the album when it was out. There are some vault tracks that I would be looking forward to hearing. Curious as what the bonus features, DVD material, concert material, if they'll follow even that formula again. So who knows? So again, until they announce something officially, this is all speculation at this point. But I hope that the relationship between Primary Wave and the remaining siblings to be a harmonious one. And yeah, like I said, I'm excited by the Super Deluxe editions and reissues. And I hope we can really get some innovative ideas. Again, whether it's how they're promoted or what we get in terms in the quality of packaging, utilizing some of the new technology and branding, introducing this music to even future generations. I think that, Prince is a modern day Mozart, or Bach, and I hope he'll be remembered in 200, 300, 400 years' time, just like, Bach and Beethoven and, Stravinsky and, all of those greats. I'm sure Stevie Wonder and the Beatles will for sure, but, I hope Prince is in that category for future generations as well. So, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what will happen next. Again, I'm for either side, as far as, the siblings that are playing that long game, they have a right to, It would have been interesting to see what Prince would have done. I mean, granted, somebody like, he probably would have pulled like a Neil Young kind of a move where Neil Young, yeah, he cashed out, but he cashed out for only 50%. So he still retains that other 50%. And I mean, that's a cool move too. That's a good hustle move as well. To me personally, I think it's the better deal. But again, there's, with David Bowie, when we mentioned in the Protecting Our Black Legends episode of Amari Purple Talk, where, he was the first to do that back in the 90s with that Pullman bond, where, he cashed out and it was for a finite number of years and he got those rights back. And now, when his days were finite, he put that strategy for the long game. So Iman and their children, or, child or children from previous marriage, whoever's benefiting from the Bowie estate, he set them up to where they can play that long game. And part of that long game has been, realized with that current deal with Warner Brothers, for his master recordings. And that Pullman deal back in the 90s, with that cash, he was able to buy back even more master recordings than he had at that time to do that. So he was playing that long game with that. So it would have been interesting to see what Prince would have done, with all these people cashing in. What would he have been able to do? Like I said, would he have done 50% or 75% or 90% and made one of those deals? And, would it have allowed him to kind of just want to kick back or just do more piano and microphone tours without worry of financial liability? Or who knows? Again, like I said, it's nothing to criticize or, get hung up about. It's all great music. Like I said, our job is, if we like it, we buy it, we enjoy it. There's a lot of great memories, or if the music helped you get through some bad times in life, ours isn't the, oh, he should have, or they should, or they shouldn't, or he wouldn't have, or he would have done this. That's a waste of time and energy. Let's just enjoy the music. Enjoy your favorite era. Enjoy your favorite albums. Enjoy your favorite song. May the memories be pleasant. Let that energy travel up to him. And, like I said, it's going to be exciting. We already get like other artists, like a lot that I'd use for comparisons on this show, And the long game, there's, Hendrix, it's been decades. They're still putting out stuff. Dylan, he's still with us, but I mean, it's been decades. He controls his own masters, so he's been beating the bootleggers since 91 or 92. That's something to celebrate. What the Beatles have done recently, what Paul McCartney does with his archive series, that's something to celebrate. Frank Zappa, that was another one, even before he transitioned. He controlled all his masters. I go back to that. If you watch that Zappa documentary, I mean, it literally practically opens up with him showing off his vault. It's like, I want to see that in the Prince documentary too. I want to see the vault. I want to see, live action film, or archive film of the vault, what that looked like in, prior to 2016, check that out. It's amazing. So, but yeah, Zappa's another one, it's before he transitioned, he was, beating the bootleggers and dropping the stuff from his vault for his fan base, getting it direct from the source. But even since his transition in, was it 92, 93, again, decades and stuff is still coming out, it's a patient game. It's a waiting game, and for those of us of a certain age, I mean, how do you think some of those fans feel? They're the 60s and 70s and, and stuff is still coming out for them to enjoy, and they might have been collecting, 20, 30, 40 years on. They may have started off like us with just the crappy bootlegs, but now look at all this stuff that's available, whether you're a Stones fan or whoever, Hendrix, all this stuff is coming out. And again, it's a lot of younger generations. I mean, heck, I'm not going to get into when I discovered each of these groups, but, I was a teenager in the 80s and an adult in the late 80s on. And, this stuff is coming out and I'm enjoying it and celebrating it. And it's great. So, I mean, it's a lot to look forward to. So I can't wait. I can't wait. So bring it on. So whatever they decide to do, again, like I said, this year feels like it's a little low key. I think 2023 will be even bigger. 2024 is going to be off the chain. And I think from that point forward, it's going to be a very fun ride. So let's stay healthy. Let's, save up our purple croutons. Because I have a feeling some stuff is going to be coming starting 2023. It's going to be on. And it's going to be a great time to be a part of the Prince musical singularity. And it's going to have something for everybody. It may not be the year that you may want it, or whatever, but trust me, whatever it is, it's going to be worth the wait. And that's going to be it for this episode. Thanks once again for tuning in. And again, please download on your favorite podcast platform. And if you're on YouTube, like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to keep up to date on everything Amari Communications. Check out past episodes and videos about albums I've purchased. And check out some of my own music as well. I got 2 tracks up now. Save Yourself and We Funk to the Last Band. And I know music or art in general, it's subjective and may not be to everybody's personal taste. But hey, I'm doing this for fun, and it's me just making a personal noise, and I hope you will enjoy it. But if you want to check it out, visit the Amari Communications channel on YouTube, or visit my Bandcamp page. I'm going to put those links in the show notes below, and feel free, go to Bandcamp, follow me, feel free to donate as well. but that's 2 tracks for right now anyway. Save Yourself and We Funk to the Last Band. And I'm Richard Cole, and until next episode, be safe and create your day, and then create your life. Peace. People, we're the purple party people now. Time to get on the one. Keep it on the one. So we're all the purple party people now.